All right, welcome back. Refusing to flinch, the president demanding a deal with Democrats to secure $5 billion that he wants to build the wall. But what would a deal look like? And can Congress get to it or get it done before the partial shutdown deadline of December 7th? Very close now. Joining me now is Republican strategist Kimberly Klacik. Kim, thanks for coming on this morning. Let's take a quick look at comparison, what the Democrats want to give on this, what the president wants. The Dems looking to spend $1.6 billion, not necessarily on a wall, but on securing the border. The president wants $3.4 billion more for just a portion of his wall. I did think it was interesting to hear Chuck Schumer come out there and say that, hey, we want to spend $1.6 billion to secure the border. I think that's some kind of progress, right?
That is, and that's a very specific amount. So Congress passed $14 trillion in spending, but we're being told they can't get $5 billion together to support funding our southern border. The problem with that is it's a charade. The only way I can explain it is to break it down by dollar. So in the fiscal year of 2019, we'll spend $4.4 trillion. $1.2 trillion of those dollars goes into a discretionary spending fund. Half of that goes to the military, the rest goes to domestic programs. So we do have funding there. We also have $111.4 billion sitting aside in an emergency fund that isn't even included in the budget. Half of that, or more than half of that, goes to spending money overseas to fund wars and everything that we have going on over there. But we do have money there. Now we have the departments of education, departments of HUD. We have all these departments that end up with $18.7 billion in emergency funding. So we do have money there. So the problem isn't about money. This is about Democrats and anti-Trumpers sticking it to Trump so he doesn't do his job, which is fulfill his campaign promises.
Yeah, well, we know the Democrats hate the idea of the wall. They despise the idea of the wall. The president's been doing the rounds, speaking to a lot of media that's not necessarily friendly to him. He had a Politico interview. He had a Washington Post interview. I'm going to pull a quote here from that Politico interview. I'm going to read it to you. This is in regards to maybe putting together a deal between DACA and the wall, which is something that we saw almost come to fruition maybe a year ago, and then it fell apart. The president saying if the court rules in favor of Obama regarding deferred action for childhood arrivals for DACA, having that right for the DACA, it's going to be a disaster because we will get nothing. We will get nothing done. The president is hoping that when the Justice Department takes DACA to the Supreme Court, that they will rule that you can't protect these kids. And then he can use that as a bargaining chip to get his wall. What do you think the chances are that the Supreme Court rules against DACA and in President Trump's favor?
Well, I'm not sure if they will rule in favor of Trump, unfortunately, in this situation. But I do think that the Democrats here, they're playing a political game, too. This is all about leverage for either side. The president even said he doesn't want to see DACA recipients go, but he does need that leverage to ask for his money for the wall. And he's just asking for a physical boarding wall. He's not even talking about all the money that we really need to secure the southern border.
Yeah. Well, here's another million-dollar question that a lot of people ask is whether or not either party really wants to solve this problem. Because every political party needs a reason and needs a way to drag their voters up off the couch and go vote on a cold Tuesday in November. And this is one way that they get that done. What do you think?
Yeah, this is definitely, it's a political game, and it's unfortunate because DACA recipients and so many families, their lives hang in the balance here, but they're going to keep kicking this can down the road because they don't. Like you said, this is all about votes and elections, and this isn't really about the American people or those that are here now as DACA recipients. This is about them and their political gain.
Well, you look at the numbers here. When you ask people, most people don't want open borders in this country, but also most people do want those DACA kids protected. So it makes you wonder where this goes with the Supreme Court and what happens here. The Justice Department does intend to take that to the Supreme Court at some point here in the future. We're going to have to see what happens. Kimberly, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.